The transfer market is booming, and Newcastle United continues to move to strengthen its attack. Even with several deals stalled and targets narrowly escaping, the board isn't letting up. New names are emerging, high-value players are being discussed, and the pressure to close deals is only increasing. Today, we'll discuss 3 hot deals involving potential reinforcements to replace Alexander Isak and give Eddie Howe more options. Hold tight, because there's plenty to unpack. Just when it seemed there were no more top strikers on the Magpies' radar, the name of Vangelis Pavlidis, a 26-year-old Greek striker, began to circulate. Reports suggest he was closely watched by Newcastle scouts during the Benfica-Nice clash, and he's been impressing for a long time. Last October, Pavlidis scored twice against England at Wembley, securing a historic victory for Greece in the Nations League. His last season was incredible. 30 goals and 13 assists in 57 appearances for Benfica. A player with presence, physical strength, and a goal-scoring instinct, who was also on Manchester United's radar before signing Benjamin Sesko. The problem? An $87 million release clause, a figure Newcastle is unlikely to meet. Even so, the situation isn't ruled out, and if negotiations are made, the fee will still be high. Compared to Samu Agahoa, Pavlidis is more experienced and ruthless, while the Spaniard is more similar to Alexander Isak in terms of playing style. 2 interesting options, but with very different profiles. And since we're talking about Samu Agahoa, it's time to move on to another name that's growing in importance behind the scenes and could very well become Newcastle's new priority. The name Samu Agahoa, a 21-year-old Porto striker, is gaining traction behind the scenes. He recently joined the Portuguese club for around $12.7 million, and his rights were acquired in full this summer after Porto paid an additional $10.4 million. Last season, he scored 27 goals, attracting attention for his speed and finishing ability. Newcastle, which has already lost Benjamin Sesko and is seeing the deal for Yoane Wissa drag on, is reportedly willing to invest heavily to sign Samu, something around $80 million. It's a lot for a player with no experience in more competitive leagues, but his potential is undeniable. For Eddie Howe, he's the type of striker who can be honed and become a key player. The challenge will be to act quickly, as competition could increase, and Porto doesn't intend to make his exit easy. Furthermore, Samu is attracting interest precisely because he represents a modern striker, capable of playing both as a key player in the box and dropping wide to create space. His versatility could give Howe more tactical options, something crucial in a season that promises to be grueling. The question is whether Newcastle will have the courage to pay a high price now to reap the rewards in the medium and long term. And if AG Howe is still a plan of attack for the future, there is another negotiation that could bear fruit much sooner, and that is just a step away from happening. Meanwhile, the Yoane Wissa saga continues. Brentford is already preparing for the striker's departure, sounding out Bournemouth's Dango Ouattara as a replacement. The London club knows Wissa wants to leave and that Newcastle is his preferred destination, mainly for the chance to play in the Champions League. At 28, he sees this as perhaps his last opportunity to play at the highest level in Europe. Brentford's asking price is $50 million, and the biggest obstacle lies precisely in this assessment. Personal terms shouldn't be an issue, but until an agreement is reached between the clubs, the transfer remains on hold. There is one point of concern. Al Nasser, a PIF club in Saudi Arabia, is also interested. This could change the situation, but for now, Newcastle remains confident that the deal will happen. It's just a matter of time. This scenario shows that Newcastle doesn't want to rush into things, but they also know that delay could be costly. With other clubs monitoring the situation, any hesitation could open the door for a competitor to snatch the deal. Therefore, the expectation is that a firm decision will be made in the coming weeks, avoiding last-minute surprises. Another important point is that Wissa is already demonstrating that he is mentally out of touch with Brentford. Training separately from the group and lobbying behind the scenes, he makes it clear that his future lies far from London. For Newcastle, this stance could be an ally in the negotiations, helping to force a faster deal and perhaps for a fee slightly below the initial request. Newcastle is experiencing intense days in the transfer market. Between experienced names like Pavlidis, promising prospects like Samu Agahawa, and drawn-out negotiations like Wissa's, the board is seeking not only quantity, but also quality to provide Eddie Howe with a squad capable of competing at the top. The pressure is mounting, the fees are high, but so is the ambition. Now, it's time to wait and see who will be the next to wear the black and white jersey and feel the weight of playing at St. James's Park.